Welcome back to the Loud Sound Epicenter podcast. Excuse me. I'm a bit jet lagged right now. I need to cool my jets for a bit because I just arrived back from Vegas multiple hours ago and I'm feeling a little lightheaded. So, going to get a sort of stream of consciousness just kind of meandering through the stream if I'll survive. So, stay tuned if I even make it that far. Feeling a little claustrophobic. I've been trying to update the studio a bit more. We got some posters over here. No little knickknacks or souvenirs from Vegas, but we'll be going through some highlights. Definitely a lot to discuss, lots to talk about. First and foremost, for anybody who is in doubt right now, um, we're back. Okay, we are feeling pretty, pretty euphoric right now, based off of some of the prizes we won. Didn't lose any money, unlike some other people, but we got some things that I think are going to last a bit longer than paper. We're going to be going over some memories that we were thankful to get, thankful to be a part of with some very cool individuals. So, excuse me for a sec here. I just want to. We had some problems with Nixon in the last stream. I hope that doesn't happen this time. I think we got a pretty good setup compared to the last video. We'll see how things go for now. But yeah, I know I just said that I came back from Vegas a couple of weeks ago, but I had to return because I had to meet some very cool friends and first time meeting a few people that I've been meaning to get in contact with. So it was just overall very cool experience, nice little cozy trip. And it's funny because I keep going back to Vegas. It's a city that's become a stomping ground for the California College Republican Organization. And now some of our friends over at Cozy.tv are even though it represents sort of the opposite of what we believe, there is a lot going on in the city that may surprise people. So it was a cool trip. I may have figured out my take on the city overall. It's the people are what make the city give you some weird vibes. And you got these big, elaborate, shiny buildings juxtaposed with poverty out in the open in the streets. So it's just like New York. It's very American. It's a very American city in the worst and worst ways. So, but like I said, because I was joined by the best of company, it was all worthwhile. I would do it again because the people around me made it worthwhile, and I'm very thankful that they made me a part of it. So yeah. One last thing, I want the mafia to take over the city like they did in the 70s. If you've seen the movie Casino, parentheses 1995 parentheses, it's a lot better than Goodfellas parentheses 1990 parentheses. If you know what made it cool. It's sort of a complicated thing because Kennedy and his connections to the mafia were the alliance that stood against Nixon in the 1960 election. So it's a decade that saw the road to the White House and Nixon's navigation through politics. But you've got this, we like to talk about pop culture lore on the show, and I'm not really sure which side to take because you kind of got this Catholic and wise guy alliance versus the Quakers, I guess is one way to look at it. Then again, Jimmy Hoffa did support Nixon after Robert F. Kennedy turned his back on the people that helped his brother become president. So, anyways, bit of a tangent there, but that was just some of the things going through my mind when I go through the casino. I'm not really seduced by a lot of the gambling, but sort of the atmosphere is very interesting. So, I am glad to kind of experience that with cool people. It makes it all worthwhile. So anyways, yeah, Las Vegas used to be run by gangsters and thieves, and now it's still run by gangsters and thieves. So time is a flat circle, as we know. But anyways, so yeah, there's a lot to get into. First of all, let's do our check of Okay. Okay, so we got the microphone on. That's very cool. Like when that happens. So, first of all, did I say that? Charlemagne was cool enough to remind me that one of the friends of the show, Red Hawk, who I tuned into his July 4th stream, which is very cool. And I didn't really know much about the guy. I knew he was vaguely in these circles. He went to the event, which I did not, but probably going to next go round. And I got to meet him IRL. So it was very cool to see the first person in this sort of dissident space in person and in person. So that was interesting. He was getting me up to speed, some of the shenanigans and what have yous. It was really cool because it's nice to put a face behind the profile, behind the Avi. And I've been talking to people and a lot of these I don't even know, I guess dissident right, whatever. It's just cool people. I don't really like to get hung up on like what exactly this is. It's just a cool little thing. And so he was red pilling me pretty hard, going pretty much off the goop in the what was that, the Mirage. So it was very nice. And it was kind of my two worlds colliding because the College Republican organization has introduced me to a lot of people in one class, and then you kind of got this online class. So it was kind of to quote Sammy Hagar, it was the best of both worlds, which I'm sure Thomas would appreciate. And so yeah, so that was pretty cool to see. It's funny. My introduction to a lot of the people in this space was for people that Cozy TV was not around at the time, but it was meeting some of those people before I stumbled across Academic Agent. And so it was nice to see Red Hawk, and he was very nice. I got to thank some people for reminding me. I've been neglecting some stuff. I owe someone some money, not for gambling purposes, but for other favors. So that was nice and cool. What else? So that was as far as, because I owe a lot of this YouTube channel to Thomas. I owe a lot of it to Academic Agent. Those are the people that have helped me a lot put this show together and get it off the ground. So it was nice to meet somebody there. And then for the majority of the trip was getting familiar with a lot of the people on cozy.tv, who some of us are, I don't think, really in tune with all the way. I'm in a really weird like state of mind right now. I feel like I haven't eaten, which is kind of true, but I just feel like I've been traveling a lot and not getting a lot of sleep. So I'm not really used to being like this on camera. I was thinking about doing this stream last night, but I fell asleep. So I'm sort of getting out of the fog of war behind the desk over here, but I'm glad. I'm glad to be back here. I want to look at the chat because I don't have it pulled up. Got some pop-ups over here. All right. No. Brotherhood of Nod. I did not lose. I spent some money, but not on gambling. So it was money worth spending. I guess that's sort of the logic behind people who put their money into slot machines. But it was investment in another means, so I didn't lose any money in the conventional sense, but yeah. No, I just wanna thank all of the people. Uh, I mean, they know who they are. I also don't wanna get too personal with some of the details, but I just wanna thank a lot of the cozy streamers that I was thankful enough to meet. Some of them were, very friendly, and people who were helping us get from place to place, moving around up and down the strip. If you've ever been there, it's very hectic. It's overwhelming. You need like a party to help you around. So that was what made it worthwhile. If I was there by myself, it'd be a whole different story. But because I was there in good company, people took care of me. So I'm very grateful for that. And saw a pretty interesting stream. Well, I guess not stream. I was wondering if it was going to get streamed, but oh, I see some familiar names in the chat here. I'm thinking we're back. I want to say this up front because it sort of is relevant for some recent political stuff. A little distracted over here. Okay, okay. Where was I? Okay, so for those that don't know, the reason I was able to meet Red Hawk was because he was there for this libertarian event that I was kind of on the outs with. Not really familiar with the scene outside of Mises. I think Mises is really cool, even though they kind of use the libertarian label. They're a bit beyond that, as you know. People like Radlib sort of woke me up to this stuff, and so I there was this basically convention happening that Red Hawk was checking out, and he was keeping me up to speed with some of those political circles. I'm more in tune with like the college scene. Am I bumping into this mic? My goodness. So it was really cool to kind of see the other side of it. You know, I it's like an insult to call them libertarian. It's a lot more complicated. It's a lot of young people getting into politics, and one of the avenues for doing so is sort of YAF, Buckley-esque programs. You know, Turning Point is one of the most notorious ones, but there's a lot of cooler stuff underneath that umbrella. Young, right wing, receptive to dissident politics. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Pete Canones, of course, another great example. And so Red Hawk was giving me up to speed. We're sort of, like I said, best of both worlds, the college Republican scene and this libertarian, I don't even know what you call it, don't tread on me types that edge into right wing politics. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge. We do a little coalition building. We do a little strategy for the right. And so it was nice to really make sense of all of it, because I hear a lot of stuff online. People say Mises is cringe. People say, you know, if you're a college student and you're into Republican leaning politics, that makes you a Turning Point ambassador, somebody who goes to the Leadership Institute and gets involved with all these bad faith DC actors. But it's not really like that. There's a lot going on that I think would lift up people's spirits if they knew just how easy it was to meet people, get involved. So, and you don't even have to ruin your life and become unemployable. So, very encouraging to see. So, I want to thank Red Hawk for giving me the time of day, not blowing me off. There's a million things to do in Vegas. Talking to me is probably, the least of his concerns. So, it was nice of him to, shake my hand and introduce me to some cool people. So that's that. Anyways, I kind of got off topic there, but there's a film screening happening, like documentaries being shown. That's what this libertarian conference is doing. They're sort of showcasing these things. I went to one of these that was YAL, Young Americans for Liberty, as opposed to freedom. I think it's called Revolution. If you read The Spectator, there was a pretty interesting review from Amber Athey, something like that. But anyways, um, there was a film festival type deal, kind of like Cannes, and there was a lot of controversy because they would not screen a specific film, and so I got to see a private screening of it, not at Freedom Festival. I got to go elsewhere to see it, and it was pretty cool because a lot of people in the dissident right, they talk about the globalist American empire, and that's what this documentary that wasn't allowed to be screened there showed and explained, sort of the managerial nature of the state. And so that's where you can see it meshing with the libertarian politics, a lot of the Rothbardian stuff. And there's even some pretty edgy stuff that aligns with, Hoppe and that sort of branch of the libertarian network. So it was pretty in tune with the stuff going on at the festival. I wasn't at Freedom Festival, so I can't speak on. I'll have to reach out to Red Hawk. He said he was pretty optimistic about it. Not personally invested in that circle, don't really know the insider baseball. I'm more in tune with the cozy people, and so it was nice to kind of get a look at this film that was not allowed at the Libertarian Network. But if you follow Lauren Witzke on Telegram, she said something that kind of made it seem like these aren't going to be two separate events. Today or this week rather, there was some controversy, but it looks like next go round, you might be seeing an unlikely coalition between these two worlds here. So it's very cool to see people kind of putting the personal preferences aside. Of course, the online right is notorious for a lot of mudslinging, a lot of there's some Zoomers, there's Protestants, there's pagan leaning people, and so inevitably there's going to be infighting and what have yous. A lot of maybe some Mean Girls energy happening here, warranted or not. I don't really want to say, but it's just you get that, and when it comes to like these like organizations, Nick has his thing going on, and then I don't know who runs the Freedom Festival. I hope that's what it's called. That's what I remember off the top of my head. It's this libertarian uh film premiere. So hope I'm getting that right, the details. But anyways, I just wanted to thank a lot of the people at Cozy for just bringing me into some good company. I wasn't really involved in this thing about a year ago, and now it's becoming a lot more familiar. I'm getting some deja vu seeing all these faces, and so it's a nice little thing. Like I was saying, the thing that the film covered was a lot of how the politics works, and so it's I think it's up the alley of a lot of people who would be hesitant to check out a lot of the people on Cozy. We had that notorious stream with Wendell, who Thomas was giving some critique from a good faith position. And I think a lot of that stuff is generational. That's the kind of theme we've been bringing on the show, is not so much ideological, but I think what's really the wedge between some of the libertarian leaning people and some of these newcomers on Cozy, relatively speaking, is there's really an age gap that isn't really being addressed. I think Geo's talking about this in Twitter Spaces and some of his content with Prude. I think a lot of that is coming to light, and so we're going to be able to have a more amicable relationship and not just fire one across the bow and do things in that sort of Twitter way. It's very funny to see a lot of the mudslinging, but not when it's people that I think are worthy of an alliance. So that's the thing. That's the thing. It was very cool to see this private screening and talk to a lot of the people on the ground and not just make assumptions on what people are saying online, what people the stuff you see posted on Telegram and pictures and people wondering what's happening. I am very optimistic to where things are going, and so it's nice to confirm that from my perspective. I'm getting some updates live on the show. Some of you in chat, my goodness, could you please? Okay. Thank you, Bryce. I appreciate some live updates. It's a bit distracting. I'm trying, I haven't gotten much sleep, haven't been eating consistently, haven't been eating a lot of meat like Kai Clips recommended. But so it's I'm a little disoriented right now. And to see people leaving some of that in chat, it's a bit overwhelming. What else? Oh, of course, of course. Let me find something here. I was able to get in contact with some people, and I just want to say at the outset here, we were talking about this in a earlier video with Oros, Thomas, I think Lady of Shalott. I'm trying to remember the names. I'm sure Vingel, Oscar was weighing in on this. The official endorsement of products on Cozy. Do I have this in my notes? I'm trying to organize a little bit here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So at the Airbnb, I found out that the official endorsement from cozy.tv, they say a lot of things that people say are unnecessary, cause wedges that don't need to be there, kind of this Zoomer noble savage attitude that polarizes people that would like them. I want to put that all aside and say that the official endorsement from the Cozy streamers, and this is on the ground journalism. I confirmed this with the guys. It's French toast crunch and frosted maple flavor Pop Tarts. Those are I made fun of some cereals earlier that I thought were, a little over the top. We talk a lot about consumerism on the show, and, you know, I think some of these products are some of the ones that deserve a fair hearing. You know, we made fun of some of the candy flavored, sugary type breakfast items. I'm gonna have to endorse some of that on the show here because people wanted this to turn into a mukbang channel. People wanted me to review Captain Crunch syrup and all this other stuff that I'm not even totally aware of. But you know, they really forced my hand because I wasn't totally on board the first. I mean, yeah, I see the stuff in the grocery store. Some of these people are on the East Coast. I'm from California, so you can imagine a lot of the excess there. But I'm starting to come around to this, you know, this sugary cereal stuff. It really kind of opened my eyes, and I wouldn't have been open to it if some people that I trusted gave it the stamp of approval. So I just want to say on the outset, we're not going to be talking about cereal on the show. I got some new information over this week, so I was kind of shooting my mouth off, you know, causing a lot of division, and I want to put that aside because I don't think it was appropriate. You know, I'm a young guy. People say Zoomers don't have a lot of experience. I got some new experience this weekend, and you know, so I want to I might have to take down some of those videos. Me and Oros were going pretty ruthless on people who enjoy that stuff. I was wrong. I was wrong, and it doesn't feel good saying that, but I got to admit it. I didn't know what I was talking about. So I just want to give a full disclosure there. I said a lot of stuff in past videos, but you know, I got to trust the guys that are, you know, being very successful, making a lot of smart networking decisions. And if they're in the kitchen at the Airbnb having the stuff like that, you know, there's got to be something to that. I don't usually have that stuff. It also go against some of the weightlifting advice from cozy streamers. But, you know, maybe when you're having a little cheat day, you can sort of understand some of the stuff should not divide people the way that it often does. So that was pretty eye opening. Probably the most insightful thing I learned this weekend. But I'm glad some people were able to wake me up on it. So, but yeah, I wanted to. Yo, AF reactionary. Um, you reminded me of some stuff in the group chat. We'll get to that later on. Um, I want to talk about Pantera because that was the big news while I was away. Was Pantera is going to be going back on tour next year. Singer, bassist, and then the people filling in for it's big shoes to fill. Not a replacement deal, but Zach Wild and Charlie Benante from Anthrax. We'll be getting into that later on, but I want to catch up with the chat and be up to date because I don't want to neglect. I know last time it was a bit overwhelming. I'm gonna have to move Nixon because it's getting in the way of the studio, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't like to do that. I'm kind of doing a Kennedy move right now, but I wanna see what you guys are saying. The laptop's a bit too far from the desk, so this is a little tough here. Um, all right. We'll fix that. We'll fix that here in a sec. Maybe we'll switch cameras. We got multiple cameras, so we'll see. I got to move the Skittles though. Skittles are gonna be a bit of an issue here. Maybe we can move that over there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, AF. We gotta make do here for your guys' sake. Um, opinion. I don't listen to them, MF, so I'm kind of the wrong person to ask. I apologize. Um, David, yes, the rumors are true. I'm gonna start lifting. I made fun of gym cells for a long time. When Kai came over to our hometown, he woke us up to a lot of the weightlifting stuff, the proper diets, gave me some personal advice that I really didn't deserve, but he was able to kind of edge me in the right direction. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start. So I'm gonna have to take back a lot of the stuff I said in college, a lot of the gym cell banter. I might have to take it all back and eat my words. This was a week of me just walking back a lot of my provocative statements. It's you know, it was a learning experience. You know, I don't like to be that guy, but yeah, gonna have to get situated. But but I trust a lot of the advice that I've been given. So yeah, you might be a little unrecognizable in the next video. Who knows? You might be seeing the results immediately. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of personal stuff being told to me. So it was a very good time, very amicable. So that's right. Thank you, David Nome, for waking me up to that. What do we got here? Should have just gone to the Morrissey concert instead. Yeah, yeah. You know what was funny? One of the many advertisements in Vegas. Can you guys hear me? One of the many advertisements in Vegas was Machine Gun Kelly coming with Avril Lavigne. So very, very positive Zoomer energy going on there. They wanted to go see a separate concert, but I had to leave because of my flight. But it's very cool to see a lot of the stuff that I wouldn't normally be aware of. When we were walking down right before we saw our film, we walked down. I think it was close to Planet Hollywood because there's a similar metal venue that I think Judas Priest was going to go to before COVID canceled it. But I passed by a venue where later this month, like July 28th, 29, something like that, it's going to be Anthrax and Black Label Society, which was the band that Zakk Wylde formed after he left Ozzy. And there's a lot of overlap there because Charlie is from Anthrax and Zakk are going to be joining Pantera to take that on the road. So I think that's probably where the conversation originated, maybe somewhere during this tour of these two bands. That if you listen to, you know some of the lore there. But that was big news, and this was that was one of the things that happened while I was on vacation. So I wanted to address that to get caught up to speed. But pretty cool, pretty cool. Vegas not really my scene. I'm there because the people were cool, and I owe it to them that that I was there in the first place. So I gotta pay respects. What else we got here? Oh, Bryce. Oh, I missed your. I didn't mean to stream snipe. I didn't know Bryce was streaming right now. I gotta figure out everybody's schedule here. I think after after Wednesday is kind of the up for grabs territory for people like Pru, Geo, and what is it, Radlib, and then Bryce. I got to take into account the channels I watched before getting into this, so it's very overwhelming. We're trying to get through it, but yeah. But what else do we got here, Matthew? That's not up to me. That's not. I'm leaving that up to the. I would like to, Matthew. It is up to the people behind the scenes. It's their call. I have a lot of scripts prepared in case that goes through. We're going to be getting into some very cool content, and for your guys to say there's going to be a big upgrade on the show if that happens. But as of right now, I don't want to. It's up to them. It's not my call. So we'll see. We'll see. You guys will be the first to hear about it. But I appreciate the question. What do we got here? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Such. That is right. Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't want to say your name. I don't want to say your name, but Pouch Respecter. This guy is an old head. This guy, I owe a lot to him because we were in a Discord server that was when I was first getting into politics, and we were with a ragtag group of people. Without getting too personal, it was one of the first online communities I could say I was a part of before affiliating with some cozy people. And I don't know if he remembers it the same way I do, but I remember a lot of how would you say this? I was really starting to figure out some stuff, some political stuff, some political documentaries, some talking points. And so I want to thank Pouch Respecter for opening my eyes to that sort of thing. We kind of we also very similar to Academic Agent. We revolved around this channel that I think is inactive for the most part today. But these guys would pull like tens of thousands of views talking about retrospectives and metal history. And it was very cool to be a part of. That was like one of the first Discord channels I ever joined. And anyways, you just saw the Elvis movie, so you're gonna get this show back to the Elvis corner. I was actually reading the 77 Elvis What Happened book, which is a bit controversial because it comes from some disgruntled Memphis Mafia members. But very insightful stuff. Very insightful. I don't know if I endorse because it's a bit don't know if every word of it is true, but was hearing some things, and so I got a new impression of Elvis before I after I saw the movie. But that's good to hear, man. I was talking to somebody who had also seen the movie. He flew out with us to Vegas, and he was man. I love this guy. We hung out for all week, but he was talking about how the beginning was like too sensational. But I think Elvis is sensational. I think it was appropriate. A lot of the critiques of the movie is that, style wise, it was too many camera angles, overwhelming the viewer with all these theatrics. But I think that's very true to the life of Elvis. Not to get back into that, I don't know if people are tired of hearing it by now. Don't know if we want to go down that road again. I'll catch up with the chat, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's okay. Well, we don't need it. We've talked about it. The pacing is really good. For those that haven't seen it, pacing's really good, visually very compelling. I just don't really know what the critique against the movie could be. You don't even have to like the guy to like it, and that's what makes it a good movie. You don't have to anything that makes you care about something you wouldn't otherwise watch. That's the merit of the film. So, anyways, very well paced. Baz Luhrmann. You're gonna doubt the guy that made Romeo and Juliet. You're not gonna make it, man. Also another film the Zoomers are co-opting, stealing more culture once again. We have to do it. We watched these millennials, man. Charlie, cover your ears, but we watched Romeo and Juliet in history class. We were learning about Shakespeare through Baz Luhrmann. So I don't want to hear about Zoomers have no culture, Zoomers have no roots, everything they have is derivative. This is not true. We did kind of have the MTV generation watching something not at the same time but together. It was collective. So Romeo and Juliet, that's a 90s movie. How can you claim it's yours? Because we watched it in class. It was part of the lecture. The teachers thought it was important enough to add to the curriculum. So this whole millennial resentment, this millennial fatwa that has been declared against the Zoomers, totally unnecessary. Talk about being replaced, you know. We are replacing you. That's what's happening. We're learning from the mistakes of the past and setting history on the correct course. That's what we got to do to the millennials. They failed. Totally failed, and Zoomers are going to correct it. That's the way it's got to be. But I hate to do that because a lot of my favorite people are millennials. I gotta move this thing. My goodness. Excuse me. Okay, we're back. Can you hear me? Do we got surround sound? We got surround sound. Yo, English class. Maybe it was English class. I'm thinking this belongs to the Zoomers. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Thank you. Nah, Brotherhood cringe. Brotherhood coping. He sees the demographic displacement of the millennials and he completely falls for it. Talk about I can't say that. When we're on Cozy, we'll be able to say a lot more. Talk about having some bias because of your background. You have a little bit of a bias there. This is like when the neocons talk about how they're invested in the Middle East. It's because they have some cultural bias. That's why. It's because it's because they're boomers. That's the that's the crux. It's because 'cause they're boomers. That is why they are. It's the way it's gotta be. Um, yo, your MF, your backyard is full of boulders. You got some Resident Evil 5 boulders in your backyard. Bass guitarist, I hope you didn't hear that rant. This does not apply to you. This doesn't apply to the cools millennials in chat. You guys are the real deal, but you understand the baggage that exists. I gotta call it out. It's unacceptable. Yo, are you serious? My goodness. Talk about the best flex in the chat right now. My goodness. Yeah, yeah, I remember that tour. Oh my goodness. And right before, dude, you saw right before the world ended. That's really cool, man. How was honest question, how was Ian Gillan? Because a friend of mine who may still be in chat, I think he left on that same tour. He left before Deep Purple went on because the performance was not what it used to be, you know. Talking about the 70s, you know, while Elvis is performing in Mafia Run Vegas, while Van Halen is playing venues run by Eddie Nash in the Roxy, you know, you or not the Roxy, Troubadour, Troubadour, I think, Gazzari's, one of those. While you got all this crime run cities and rock and roll bands playing, you've also got Deep Purple, you know, setting the bar for heavy metal. So maybe I gotta also walk back what I said to Oros, the idea that the 70s are not as good to the decades after. I may have to walk that back too, because a lot of my favorite stuff, Nixon, counterculture, the rise of metal, a lot of that stuff was happening in the 70s and before it got co-opted by a lot of the stuff in the 80s that kind of watered it down and put it into this caricature position. To the point where we can't even talk about it without people asking us about hair metal, without asking us, do you endorse all the different lineup changes in Tiger Tales? We got to confront all this stuff because MTV, uh, you know, filled the screens with a lot of the glam bands. So maybe the 70s, you know, maybe Eddie Trunk was right. Maybe the 70s was the best era for metal because that was it in its purest form. That's before it was tainted. Maybe, but I mean, there's no thrash. There's no thrash. There's like proto thrash. Not a lot of innovation was there yet. It was kind of brand new, so maybe not, technically speaking, but something to think about for sure. Maybe like the crowd. There weren't as much women in the audience. There wasn't this commercial audience that was watering down the genre. Maybe that's the take. I want to talk about the alt girl versus the preppy valley girl dichotomy. We were getting into that pretty intensely in one of the group chats. A lot of Zoomers were going back and forth, and you know, do we endorse the goth girls? Are they weighing down the movement? You know, do we really want to endorse the sort of preppy? I thought we didn't like preppy kids. We didn't like the rich girls, snobbish. Probably didn't go to the metal shows. Weren't invited to the punk concerts. You know, some of the political implications there. How about the fact that, you know, a lot of the preppy girls, they would wear like the business suits to school because they wanted to like mimic their parents. And a lot of their suits, like they're combining suits, which men wear, with skirts. So it's like this androgynous, subversive saying that like men and women are this interchangeable, we can sort of swap fashion. That's not true. We can't do that. And it's in the 80s too, so it's under that umbrella. I like denim and leather. I like the hairdos, Aquanet. But with that comes, you know, some of the Heathers fashion, a lot of these, you know, affluent white some awfuls, affluent white liberal women. I said that out of order, but you know what I mean. Some of that fashion has gotta go. We're gonna have to endorse the goth girls all the way. They're more trad by comparison, covering up underneath, layers of studs and dog collars and black leather, and sort of the Joan Jett vindication. I totally missed that when I was getting schooled on the preppy girl question. Wasn't even aware. Yeah, subversive. But and like we kind of like the preppy look because of American Psycho. We think that that's one of our things. But if the women are going to co-opt it and say that it's this mesh, that's rough, man. That's not good. That's not good. Don't like that. So, wait, what's going on? Well, we got a little. What do we got here? Thought it was good. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Deep Purple, weird band. Weird band. Generally speaking, basically invented metal. A couple bands get to say that. Very few get to say that. Invented metal. Had different lineup changes and thrived, arguably got better. And then we start to get that prog rock influence. I know the band started that way to begin with, so it's actually more in tune with their history. It's not selling out. There was only a handful of bands doing prog in the late 60s, so it's not worth getting on their case, getting on Rod Evanson's case, who was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They didn't really cave to the cultural pressure. They were playing neoclassical metal in the 70s while everyone's playing the Eagles, listening to Boston, doing this like soft rock thing. And Deep Purple was chugging along, staying in character. To bring it back to Pantera, they were just doing what they wanted to do. And a lot of those records didn't sell great, which is commendable. Some people would rather change the sound and sell more or sell the same amount, you know, like Slayer did. Slayer changed their sound, and did that album do very well? Think about that. People don't have like a long-term vision of how the discography is going to look when they're having their farewell tour. All the thrash bands caving, some of the death metal becoming more influenced by world music. It's just embarrassing. And Deep Purple, say what you want. Maybe you probably don't go to those records. You don't go to Houses of the Blue Light. You don't go to some of this latter day output. But if you like Deep Purple, it's really not that bad. I mean, this is a band that made a song in the 21st century about Vincent Price. I can't counter signal Deep Purple. It's tough. It's going to be tough, even if I don't listen to them consistently. So. Okay. Bass guitarist, you do got a point. It took glam to make metal more accessible to the Valley Girls. That's true. The question is, do we want them? Do we want that archetype in the movement? Okay, we're talking about the movement here. What are we gonna do about the Valley Girls as a demographic? Are they really like a necessity to this open? Do we want this open tent movement? Okay. Do we want to be Whitesnake and bring in people that are among the best? We got Tommy Aldridge and Steve Vai, but they put but it's slip of the tongue. An album that is not great. You know what I'm saying? We got some of the best talent. We got we got some Giga Chads in the band, but at what cost? We got Kittens Got Claws. I don't know, man. I think that's up in the air. It's up in the air. I don't this isn't really condemning glam. It's just the company, the scene that it invites. It's concerning. I don't know, man. Gonna have to think about what you really want. Why are you here? Are you here to make friends? Are you here to meet girls? In that case, yeah, let's have let's have Chad Metal unplugged. Let's have let's change the lineup and still call the band the same thing. Yeah, by all means. Let's let the girls wear business clothes. Who cares? Who cares if they're joining the workforce in droves because Ralph Lauren is sending them propaganda telling them that they can be Patrick Bateman too. Let's normalize American Psycho 2 with Mila Kunis. Let's actually talk about how that's actually better than the original because it's actually more true to the book and the intention behind it. Maybe you're right, bass guitarist. Maybe this is the millennial take that I have to accept. As a Zoomer, I'm sort of blind to the. I don't know, man. I don't know if we want Veronica Sawyer. We want Veronica Sawyer in the movement. We want Betty Fink in the movement. We don't want Heather Chandler, Heather Duke. That's what you got to ask yourself. What are you really in this for? Are you in here for the long haul? Are you in here for cheap thrills? Why are you in Las Vegas? Are you here to lose money or win money? Ask yourself, because there's a lot of losers attaching themselves to this movement, and it's quite frankly it's embarrassing. These people are wearing suspenders. Do we really want that? Do we really want all of that baggage? Yeah, I mean, if I guess it comes down to a judgment call of what you want. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough out there. So I'm gonna have to come down on the '80s as a decade because that's what we're talking about here. The black leather that existed before. Elvis was doing that in the '60s. Elvis Presley was doing that in the 1960s, and he didn't even like hippies. So a lot of the '80s is gonna get a strong disavow and gonna get exiled from the movement. That's what's happening. That's what we're declaring on the show because new things have come to light. And this Chad Metal thing, this Shrapnel Records thing, we're gonna have to gatekeep it because, quite frankly, it's problematic. And I'm not really liking all of these Kane Roberts, all these Giga Chad, BAP, bodyguards shredding. I think that that's becoming an issue. It's becoming a wedge. It's an albatross for the movement. So, bass guitarists, you've brought in a lot of insight to the show. But if it comes down to a certain demographic weighing down the so-called movement, we're declaring a war on the '80s. Oros was right. '70s is the way to go, and everything after is pure modernity. Everything after is nothing but chasing marketing brands, multinational corporations, preppy girls, and glam metal fans uniting to suckle the teat of Ralph Lauren. So this is bad. This is bad news. This is a huge red flag. And I don't know, man. Gonna have to throw out all my gonna have to throw out all of my gonna have to gonna have to I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna have to happen, but I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it, okay? I was gaslit. I was seduced by all the. It's just like Vegas. I'm totally taken in by the bright lights, city lights, by Yankee Rose. But we're gonna have to flip the script. It's not looking well. So sorry to say. It's tough. I walk these streets. That's right. It's a lone man. It's a lone wolf. I'm gonna have to gonna have to call the FBI. We have a can't say that, but this man has just barged in with all his radical rhetoric, and I don't want any part of that. Okay, I don't want any part. If that's the movement, I don't want any part of that, frankly. So sorry to say. I'm sorry, bass guitarist. Bass guitarist is gonna have the end of Rockstar arc. He's gonna have the Mark Wahlberg. He used to sell out arenas with Steel Dragon with Timothy Oliphant. He pulls a young Miles Kennedy pre-Slash from the audience, and then bass guitarist, after seeing the errors of his ways, he walks out of the Protestant church and goes full force, takes a first class ticket to Seattle, where his life completely changes for the better and converts to grunge and sells out coffee houses all over Seattle. And Eddie Vedder resents him because Eddie Vedder came from a family of wealth. He's not from the streets. And so it makes him furious that this former glam metal musician, like a Alice in Chains arc where they used to be glam, and then but even with all the makeup and the hairspray, they were still more true to the street ethics. They have more bragging rights. And so everybody in the Seattle scene resents bass guitarist because he's the most talented person in the whole genre. And he doesn't even get the Rolling Stone credits. Nirvana does. He doesn't put on the shirt that says we hate magazines. He doesn't even want that because he's true. And that's my prediction of bass guitarist. That's where he's going. And but then Jennifer Aniston does come in. Remember that? If you've seen Rockstar, this is gonna sound completely unhinged, but if you've seen Rockstar, you know what I'm talking about. Jennifer Aniston leaves bass guitarist for a brief moment because he is disheveled. He's walking out of the hotel room, zipping his pants up. And she tells him, "This is not who you are. You've completely gone down the wrong path, and if you don't correct your errors, you're never going to see her again." And so he almost doesn't do it because the life is so good. He's selling out stadiums, Steel Dragon every night. Metallica is completely surrendering to commercial success. And besides Van Halen, Steel Dragon is still doing #1 albums with For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge and OU812. They're still riding this wave, even though grunge is happening. Steel Dragon and Van Halen are still #1 on the billboards. But then bass guitarist realizes none of that matters. That's not why we're invested. We're invested because we're here to meet good people. Jennifer Aniston was guiding him throughout the early stage of the band when his brother was telling him to listen to Air Supply. So it doesn't matter that you got this cool band. That's not what it's about. So you do have to eat the cost and walk away from the commercial success. But in turn, you go to Seattle, and when you're playing when you're playing when you're playing extreme songs unplugged in the coffee house, Jennifer Aniston walks in and says, "You have grown up so much. You listened to her advice. And even though by metal standards you sold out, you didn't really sell out. You actually gained a thing you'll have forever, which is true love with Jennifer Aniston." So so that's the life of bass guitarists. That is what's going to happen in the next 10 years. And whether you consider that a victory or a loss, it really comes down to why you're in this movement. Why you're in this. So basically, yeah. so um so yeah. But yeah, we're we I I never I love you, bass guitarist. I love this man, bass guitarist. This guy, I could die for this guy. If bass guitarists if he like did a complete 180 and endorsed grunge, I would do it. I would be bass guitarist's top guy. I'd do it for him. Ace, can you address the GQ, the grunge question? I'm glad you asked that because somebody I flew with asked me the exact same thing at Denny's when I was looking for my minion pancakes, which aren't at Denny's, they're at IHOP. So I wasn't even in the right restaurant. I didn't even know what I was talking about. I haven't even seen the movie. But I was there coping. I was unironically mad because I wanted the banana pancakes with the banana milkshake, but they didn't have it. This Hispanic waitress, she didn't know what I was talking about. But he asked me, so I got the American Grand Slam, I think. No, I got the Caesar salad. I got the Caesar salad, which was good. It was good. I was okay, but okay. Can we put Pouch Respecter in a 10-minute timeout for putting blasphemy in the chat? But when I was there for the Caesar salad, uh, my best friend asked me for my take on grunge, and I said, "Listen, I know bass guitarist has pressed me on this before, but even with the third wave of glam metal, I would argue that the genre had already peaked on a technically speaking, glam had already peaked, and Skid Row was going, Dangerous Toys was still going. They were going. It was could have lasted like I think 5 more years. 5 more years max. You had Heaven's Edge, 5 more years max. And so roughly speaking, I don't think grunge completely destroyed the technical momentum of grunge. I think or of hair metal rather. I think the genre peaked. And so I'm more upset that it was grunge that replaced it. I resent grunge because it was not worthy of that being the replacer of glam metal. Grunge only lasted like 4 years, if that, like probably closer to 2.5 or 3. That is why I am anti-grunge on principle. It didn't destroy glam metal. It was just this stupid hyper focus from the media. MTV, as you know, started showing grunge videos instead of metal. And people said, well, metal had its heyday. Let's move on to somebody else. Let's move on to somebody worth showing. Because you want to say that glam metal was on, because here's, I'm defending, this is a defense of glam metal. I'm anti-grunge. That's the stance. But like glam metal was still improving, and that's where me and bass guitarists agree. I just don't think it would have lasted like all the way to the end of the 90s. I think it would have lasted like to the point where grunge died, ironically. Grunge peaked with their debuts. Think about that. Besides Alice in Chains. Grunge peaked with their debuts. That goes for all the Seattle bands. Maybe not Soundgarden. That's up for debate. Besides 2 bands, arguably. And so isn't that so ironic? People want to say glam metal. We've been watching that stuff for way too long, and it's not even good. Okay, checks notes. Nu metal has a longer and more successful lifespan than grunge. So how does that make any sense? Nu metal wasn't as influential as grunge, but nu metal had a longer lifespan. So I just think the natural progression would have been taking that grit from glam metal and maybe some of the attitude from grunge, but instead of turning it into this shoegaze, sorry to counter signal that, but instead of turning it into this gloom and doom grunge fad, you should have gone heavier like Pantera did. You should have kept to the script. because the 90s was getting more violent, it was getting more edgy, it was getting more far right, politically speaking. There is no reason in the world that grunge was supposed to be the replacer. That makes no sense. It's just that doesn't add up at all. You're gonna have angsty white guy music, and it's going to be Pearl Jam. If anything, Nirvana makes a lot more sense because Bleach was heavier. Stone Temple Pilots should have been the progression. The Alice in Chains should have been the gold standard. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just like grunge. It has this, talk about the Nuremberg influence. Grunge has this long shadow that everybody thinks because it was the last, just because it was part of the last distinctive decade in American culture. People say, "Oh wow, look at these winners! Look at these long-term heroes." All these, like half the guys were dead before 1995. So what are you talking? You know, it's this martyr status. It's this, you know, post-mortem effect. So that's why the grunge has so much baggage. It doesn't make sense. It didn't last as long. Music's not as good, and the music that is good is actually metal. So you want to talk about Zoomers usurping millennials? All the good stuff about grunge is actually metal. So Cope and Seethe and Lamau, Lamau, Kurt Cobain. It's so over for you and your fan base. Your entire genre got turned into a clothing line. You have defined, the guy hated commercial appeal his whole career, and his entire legacy gets defined by commercial appeal. So talk about a giant L for grunge. Talk about the biggest losers in music history. It is so over. Not a fan. Not a fan of the Seattle bands. Was it really that short bass? Yeah, totally. I think someone in here corrected me. Grunge was from 92 to 94 or 95. This is it. Media hits. Dude, I owe you a bag of mini M&Ms, man. This is it right here. Yeah. Grunge was from 92 to roughly 95. If we're being sympathetic, it goes to 95. And then it was post-grunge. Nickelback, nobody would say Nickelback and Nirvana are the same thing. Two different genres. Derivative, but two different genres. And when you turn on the radio and you hear the DJ say, "We got a new band out," which is unlistenable and you're never going to remember it, what you're listening to is not grunge, it is post-grunge. This is the stuff that took all the worst parts about grunge and made it worse, ironically, drowned out all the metal. So that's the thing. People act like, oh my goodness, Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and Nirvana, they took American culture and brought it to the mainstream. Well, wait a second. If you're talking about those bands, they fizzled out, didn't even survive the millennium. And if we're going to talk about the stuff that people still listen to today, last I checked, a lot of millennials and Zoomers that are sympathetic to the 90s, they're not even listening to the full albums of grunge. They're listening to these bands that came out after, offshoots. This is where you get a lot of the emo bands. So grunge is this American success story. They had the media backing them every step of the way, and they failed. It's kind of like the Spencer arc. It's kind of like this Kurt Cobain. You had it all, or excuse me, Eddie Vedder. Eddie Vedder actually has a perfect Spencer arc because he had everything behind him. He had a family of wealth. He had the connections. He had the media giving him the limelight, and then he fizzles out. and then he goes on stage and he goes on stage and he comes out with his next album and it's not as good as the early stuff. And that's supposed to be the leader of the movement? That's supposed that's I'm Eddie Vedder gets on the stage, turn down the lights. Cameraman, this isn't a rock video. Everybody in the audience, hail our people. Oh, that's okay. Okay. We're done with I think we're done with that. Oh man. Oh man. The other thing too is Eddie Vedder became Neil Young. Eddie Vedder wanted to be this unplugged acoustic rock guy. And you listen to the later Pearl Jam albums, that's what it is. It's this sympathetic love letter to the folk rock of the 60s. Cringe. Don't want that. Not relatable, not Zoomer-esque. Oscar. My Christian Slater brother. Nelson. We just endorsed the hair. That's it. That's all we endorse of Nelson. That's Nelson is extreme. It's latter day glam for women. That's what Nelson is. It's the Steve Perry appeal. Not a lot of cachet with. Like, do you know the band from Norway, TNT? Have you ever heard that band? That band is what every woman wants glam to be. Or how about Hardline? Do you know Hardline? What is it? Double Eclipse? Look that up. That's why I would put a little pushback on glam for being excessive. You started to get like I'm not talking about Nitro. I'm not talking about it's mindless shredding. It's Vinnie Vincent. That stuff's awesome. We love Jim from Nitro. I'm talking about you had this subgenre, bands that wanted to be Whitesnake but didn't have the commercial appeal, so they just mimic this watered down version of glam ballads. And that's what I'm talking about. Nelson, Hardline, TNT. It's arena rock. That's what it is. That's what that sound is. You listen to this album and it sounds like you're listening to a live album because that's what it's catered to. It's catered to like, and it would be ironic if a lot of these bands didn't even get the arena rock status. So now some people would rather listen to those guys over grunge. Lesser of two evils, maybe. But that's the thing. And I think bass guitarists, I think he might agree with that. There was that woman influence on glam, which, surprise, surprise, made it all worse. Because think about it. Think about Whitesnake before the self-titled album. And what is that album? It's women. That is a woman album. Before, in this, dude, in David Gilmour's Whitesnake, that's what the band used to be called, you had blues rock, you had Elvis-style stuff, you had vampire blues. Or, no. Nighthawk. Yeah, Nighthawk, Roman in the Sky. You had this bluesy, deep, bringing it back to Deep Purple. And I think was it Ian Pace? Or no, Roger Glover. Roger Glover was in Whitesnake in the early period. You had this real original rock influence. And hey, now that they're on MTV, how does the music sound? It's cool. We like the aesthetic. But in the long term, is that sustainable? Every band can have one Whitesnake self-titled album. Every band can have one moment in the spotlight. And we're not talking about, like, moving pictures from Rush. I mean, like Van Halen had Diver Down. That was them all over the place. One strike. And if you're smart like Pantera, you don't have any strikes. You just do your thing. And you don't let the trends dictate you. But, look at literally okay, if you want any evidence, look at Whitesnake's career after Slip of the Tongue. And tell me that this thing was meant to last. It's just ridiculous. It is absurd on its face. So that's the thing. It's not condemning glam. It's condemning a certain influence. It's a group of highly connected, sectarian influence over the industry. It's very sad to see. Still the night. Yeah. Elon. I'm not counter signaling. I'm not even counter signaling the self-titled Whitesnake album. I'm talking about you normalize that. You do it for one album and you move on. You go back to your roots. But people can't do that. People do that one album and it's like commercial. It's commercial heroin. They got their first hit and they want to do it again and again and again. And it's like, no, dude, you can't replicate. It's lightning in a bottle. You can't do Slip of the Tongue Part 2. It's not as good as what came before. That's the problem. Everybody thinks like, no, we got the formula. We just repeat it. No, you just make it worse. You just become repetitive. I saw, where was it? What about that Lita Ford duet with Ozzy? That goes hard. That's a good song. That is a positive female influence for once. It's a good ballad. Okay, it's a good ballad. Ozzy's vocals, the last before the chorus, he has some verses, and then the very last the last string of verses before the chorus. That's like when Robert Plant does the high vocals after the Stairway to Heaven solo. It's like that kind of a moment where he goes high, and it's euphoric. You feel things when you listen to that song. So yeah. And Lita Ford, this broad, you were in the Runaways, a cool band, bluesy, Ritchie Blackmore influenced rock. And then you say, I'm going to join in on the glam metal bandwagon. All the guys like me. And so maybe I can do once again, Lita, self-titled album. Pretty decent record. And then everything after. And the stuff that's good doesn't sound like that first album. So when you say, wait a second, there's songs in the latter discography I like. What do you mean it went downhill? Okay, what makes those songs good? Do they sound like the self-titled? So that's the thing. Joel Davis said it best. These metal fans, they're grug brains. They'll defend genres, they'll defend albums, and they don't even know why. They don't understand that there's all these layers. There's subverters trying to misdirect and gatekeep what we like. That's why we want to remake Shrapnel Records, because bass guitarist understands the merits and the shortcomings of glam. And so we're going to bring a new breed of Giga Chads to have a glam metal renaissance in the 21st century. Because we know how to do it, and we know what works and what doesn't work. If you follow this guy on Telegram, this guy was playing new wave of traditional heavy metal riffs on a whim. This guy could be in Enforcer. This guy could be in Stallion. So that's the thing. Oh, Elon, if you're counter signaling the song, you're not going to make it. Please. Subject to change. Are you talking about the what was that? Man, what was that broad's name? Hey, by the way, while I got you guys in here, go and check out Cyberpunk Internal Affairs. He may be in the chat. If he is, give a link to your Twitter or something. This guy does music That blows me away, man. Pretty cool stuff. So, endorsement of Cyberpunk. The guy is a cool dude. So, but anyways, subject to change, bitch. We have the cassette, I think, in the garage. What was that girl's name though? The out Hold on, hold on. Also, speaking of this, okay. Actually, I should pull this up because I should pull this up. Subject to change. If you're still in here. Oh, that's right. Zach Wild's also in Rockstar. Thank you, subject. I forgot about that. Okay, check this out. Hear me out, okay? It's not gonna be a good look. Talk about embarrassing. Hear me out. So we have this in the garage for musical purposes. Okay, let me share screens. We like music on this channel. Don't get distracted. So we got this cassette. And someone else was mentioning this in chat. It's very unfortunate, but here, can we get the lineup? Does Discogs give you the lineup? Okay, lead vocals. Betsy, that's right, Betsy. Betsy was the one. American vocalist. Oh, she has a website? Oh, okay. This may not be optical for the show. First Lady of American Metal. Yeah, if you guys watch Thor, have you ever seen Rock and Roll Nightmare, that movie, the B movie? John Michael Thor. Oh my goodness, wait a what the oh dude. This is at the whiskey? Is it already over? All ages? Oh, this is this is 20. Yeah, in 2020. Oh man, that would have been kind of interesting. Two mediocre bands. I tease. So, okay. So here's the thing, man. Can I get this? Can I get a bigger screen? Is this gonna be a okay, so look. Here's the thing. To bring it back to fashion, we're talking about how the preppy girls got a lot of baggage. That's kind of a pun. But here's the thing. Leather, going back to the 60s, doesn't have to be counterculture. Elvis did it. He did it because it looked cool, just like the way he moved around on stage was because he just likes to dance. It doesn't have to be sexual. You don't have to look at it through that lens. That's just what's in the popular status quo. People think that. Leather is also a staple in the homosexual community. That's where Rob Halford got it from. We don't like to admit that. Not an endorsement on the show. But here's the thing. Here's the difference. Leather is neutral. It's a neutral fashion choice. And you don't have to be Betsy. You don't have to do it in this decadent, dominatrix, 50 Shades of Grey aesthetic. That is something completely different than the leather we do endorse, which is more Runaways, The Outsiders with Matt Dillon. We're talking about Marlon Brando, the wild one. Susie Quattro. That is the people we look up to. Not, even though some of this music does go hard, I think it has too much baggage and I would not endorse it for the sake of the Zoomers. That's the problem. So you may look at this and go, look, man, it's got everything you want. It's got sex, violence, aggression. Isn't this what defines the right? Isn't this what defines young men? Yeah, in their most debased, status. So we don't even have to like whitewash history and project our own preferences. This is a completely different aesthetic from Elvis. Okay, can we contrast that with look, if you think I'm making this up, dude, I need to get a mouse. This is look. Would anybody ever confuse what we just saw there to this? Yo, $100? That's worth it. Look, man, look. Open image and new tab department. Can you guys see that? Would anybody ever confuse these two? Honestly. Let me fix the settings here. It's not splitting hairs. It's not a distinction without a difference. This is different. Look, dude, look. Where's Betsy? Betsy, you here? Okay, and look, we don't even have to fully disavow Thor. How many? Oh, whoops. Okay, there it is. Yo, shout out to Chief Trumpster. Okay. Look, guys. You looking? Lighthearted, not counterculture. He's 2 years away from slandering the Beatles and saying that the hippie influence is destroying the fabric of America. This is wholesome Christian aesthetic. And this is not. Okay? This is not coping. This is not, oh, you like one, so you're going to support it and not the other. No, this is like leather has turned into like this sexual trend. It's turned into this, oh, you wear leather. It's like I was arguing with somebody in the chat. You know, think about, look, man. Whoops. There we go. Like the same thing happened with the boots. Can we get a boots check? Excuse me, I'm gonna need. Okay, where are we at? Can we see the boots here? Okay, look. Objectively speaking, this is a cool look. Okay, this kind of got a revival during the disco heyday. The white boots, maybe even red boots, that might be controversial. But these boots that have been co-opted by prostitutes, that's not fair. It's not theirs for the taking. Okay. It's like when you see flannel shirts in runway models wearing grunge as a fashion statement. Prostitutes do not have the monopoly and they don't have the trademark rights to the white boots, okay? Women should wear these. Women should enjoy the 60s fashion, but not adopt the baggage. That's the thing. That's the distinction. And people say, no. What it means to wear boots today is completely different. So yes, you may be true to the history of Uggs, but you just can't co-opt these old symbols and reappropriate them. People aren't going to accept that. I disagree. We can take leather out of the BDSM scene. We can take boots out of the ladies of the evening. It's possible, I think. And like if a celebrity did it, it would change everybody's perception anyway. So, the public is malleable. We can completely reverse trends and keep them for ourselves. So that's the thing. People don't understand. Fashion is a political weapon that they use to divide us. That's the truth. So we're helping out. We're helping them out. We're getting out of this. We're getting out of this decadent quagmire. Finally. Wearing grunge. Okay, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Oh man. Oscar, okay. So as far as I know, my little knowledge of the mods and rockers, I think after the Wild One with Marlon Brando, that is when the leather jacket became a staple for bikers. And I mean, it was already there. I'm not saying that movie had influence, and then but you already had that scene. So technically, I think the bikers predate homosexuality, and so that's how you know it's authentic. So, but I mean, like we said with the boots, you know, people's perception of the history of leather only goes back so far. And so wearing leather is synonymous with all this stuff we are not huge fans of. So that's the thing. That's the thing. How about Eddie Murphy's Delirious outfit? I'm not aware. Let me go. Okay, okay. Let's share this one. Thank you. Thank you, Elon. What did I say? Did I not say Brando? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I got you. I got you. No, this goes hard. Can we get large? Yo, we're back. Yo, we're back. Yeah, that's classy. That's classy. Thank you, Elon. Yeah, you guys know what's up. Yeah. Hey, speaking of Oscar, thank you. Thank you. I bet some companies made some cash with red jackets after Rebel Without a Cause. That is the thing. That's how you know it's real and not just a conspiracy. We have on record, fashion trends are a money making operation. So it's not conspiratorial and try hard to say that that's what's going on. So that's the other angle of it. Women that are being forced to wear like business attire, there's an ulterior motive to that. You know, it's making women like glorify the workplace. I mean, talk about subversion. So that's why this like women are wearing like half skirts, half suits. That's not real. This is somebody's invention. The androgynous stuff has gotta get some pushback. Okay. David Bowie's cool, but we gotta push back against this trend. Very troubling. Yo, are we talking about Thomas's favorite comedian, Andrew Dice Clay, Ford Fairlane? Yeah, dude, that movie, man. And to bring it back to Elvis, Priscilla is in that with a very cool role. Yeah, that's we kind of like that aesthetic. We kind of like the again, it's those two archetypes. Gen X sarcasm can go in two different ways. It can go in the Andrew Dice Clay mean, but kind of not really taking it too serious, or it could go in the George Carlin new atheist Christopher Hitchens style, which is beyond cringe. So that's the thing. I forgot even what we were talking about. Oh, Fort Fairlane. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's a funny movie. It's a funny movie. Even if we see that, comedy style for Andrew Dice Clay is played out and forced. For the record, Andrew Dice Clay is not Italian. That may surprise some people. Andrew Dice Clay is not Italian. Um, so, but there is something too. I think that that New York attitude. I gotta talk to Stan Haynes about all the types of people you meet in New York, 'cause, the stereotypes, you could do a whole show on that. That may be something in the works. Oh, Pouch Respector, there you go again with Michael Jackson, bad era specifically. And didn't Martin Scorsese direct that long short film of a music video? Is that true? I don't remember if I verified that. Music is made to justify the fashion. Interesting. Yes, yes, media hits, you're correct. You're correct. Here, I gotta find your guys's. Oh, the Fonz, that's another one. Henry Winkler, yes, yes. Not real Italians played. Yeah, yeah. I gotta talk to somebody who's Italian. Maybe Bryce Talks Metal can wake me up to that. Anybody who's got real Italian identity, I'd like to speak with about that. If that is subversive, if that is that like when Hispanics play American Indians? Oh man, sorry, I missed all these questions. Excuse me, excuse me. A Hollywood pay to play nightclub influence. So true, media hits. So true. I know that was from a while ago. Yes. Alice Cooper, late 80s, early 90s. Dude, he went industrial. Does anybody remember Brutal Planet? Here, give me a sec. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. He also had that Elvis tribute song, Disgraceland. Dude, Alice Cooper, man. And Dragontown. Yeah, dude, he had like you said. And Guns N' Roses with their, denim and leather. Making Poison wear denim and leather. That's the thing. And look at Motley Crue in the Girls, Girls, Girls music video. Or not music, excuse me. The album cover. You're about as funny as a glass. Subject to change. Man, man. All this lore, my goodness. Let me get caught up with the chat here. My goodness, you guys. Yo, bass guitarist. Good night, man. Good night. Hey, you made the show. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Okay. We're in. Oh, okay, here we go. Perfect strength. Yeah, yeah. So are we all seeing Phil and Almost Pantera next year? Yes. Well, let's see. Let's see what the verdict is on that. Who's playing guitar? Okay. Yo, Subject to Change saw Black Label Society. Does Judas Priest lose points for doing Turbo? They were always trying to churn out hits, but everybody singles out Turbo because synths. Well, see, here's the thing with Judas Priest. Like I said with Whitesnake, they did their one album. They did their, call it a sellout moment, call it a commercial money grab. But here's the thing, it's a little different when the songs are really good, to where it doesn't really matter. You know, if you've ever heard Superstition, that album, Susie and the Banshees, it's all over the place. There's ambient stuff, there's a ballad, and there's a disco funky song. It's all over the place. Some would say it's very commercial. Yet it goes hard. So I think that's the criteria. Judas Priest did their glam metal album, and then what did they do? Ram it down. Proto Painkiller, and then Painkiller. So, yeah, the band that does a glam metal album and then does one of the heaviest albums in the whole genre, I don't think we can really throw dirt on Judas Priest. Because, I mean, that's an insane arc. In what is that, like a 4-year span? So, that's crazy. Brian, we have to go back. I hope we're not going back to Betsy. I hope that's not what you're referring to. Easy now, easy. Yeah, that's where is it? It was bound to end up as drag queens. Yeah, that's why you gotta be careful. Seeing a lot of 70s broads on Instagram, right? Is that right, Elon? Elon, you're Kanye West, right? Am I remembering that right? Oh, Dice at the MTV Awards. Let me look for that. Okay, good night. Good night, bass guitarist. What was that, like a minute ago? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Elon, you're Kanye, right? Are you Kanye? I think you've been keeping up with the Instagram. Dude, anybody who wants to if anybody's on Instagram, feel free to put that in chat. I want as many people in the chat to join me on my adventures on Instagram. It's a lot of fun. Pouch Respector knows all about it. Danielle, mate and A noodles. We're so back. I think I have some pasta in the fridge. It's tempting to go out there right now, but anyone see Six String Samurai? Didn't quite. Oh, I didn't. I'll have to check that out. Thank you, though. Thank you. But yeah, hey, any people in here on Instagram, because I'm telling you, it's cool shenanigans in the stories. Elon can tell you all about it. A lot of interesting content. A lot of schizo posting within reason, within the bounds of the law, as far as I know, within the terms of service. So I would like to extend an olive branch to you guys. Oh, what the heck? We're getting some tech right now. Why is this? Hello? Dude, what is Hello? Can you guys see me? Hey, who's that? Who's that over there? What's going on, man? This is my show. It's my show. Dude, like it's Yeah, this is my show. It's my Get him out of here. Take his coat. We have an imposter among us. My goodness. Get out of here, man. There's only one ace on Loud Sound Epicenter. What was happening there? What it said there was two of me. My goodness. No, no, no. Hey, no, this is me. This is me. Hey, I dropped a lot of red pills on this chat. I taught you about the awfuls and their fashion legacy. We gave Chad metal a little bit of pushback. We talked about the lifespan of grunge, new metal lasting longer. Talked about leather not being reduced to a sexual prop. What else? Oh, I guess I was talking about Vegas earlier. That's kind of way in the past now. So yeah, it's me. It's me. That other guy, get a load of this guy. This guy thinks women wearing business skirts is cool. This guy thinks American Psycho 2 has a lot of merit. So, no. Same old show, same old script. I promise. But anyways, that was even Oscar's chat stayed. That's really strange. That's pretty funny. Avant Is this an avant-garde stream? Bruh. Danielle, bruh. Say no more. Say no more. There was this showgirl that grabbed my friend by the arm and said, "Do you wanna see a show? Do you wanna" This girl who's, like, almost completely nude. And I got catcalled on the street. Real. I swear I got catcalled on the street. There was a group of us, we were passing by showgirls, and one of them, because I was the only one wearing glasses. She said, "Hey, you! The one with the glasses, I see you smiling." Over. Over for these broads. Not gonna make it. Okay. Yeah, that's why we don't talk about Vegas. That's why. Yo, Quicksilver, are you talking about the surf? Talking about the surf organization? Don't they sell, like, merch? Wait, what is this? Brian, anyone see Oh, wait a second, it mentions that Elvis ruled over the US as king, but he isn't shown. Okay, now I gotta watch it. I didn't know that. How much did he Oh, no, no, no. Okay, Dice at the MTV Awards. What year are we talking here? I'm guessing he only did it once, so this might be easy. Oh, yeah, is this it? Get a load of this guy. Hey, wait a second. Yo, Nate in chat. I'm thinking we're back. It's gotten even more Weekend Warrior trashy. Yeah, yeah, a lot of, like, entertainment subversion going on. Is this what we're talking about? Yeah, see, I remember but isn't this isn't MTV. Yeah, this is okay, this is separate. Dude, this look oh, man. Can we get a Oh my goodness. Man, man. Okay, but the one you're talking about is this, right? Dude, can we get a large? Can we get a large? Can I get a large, Andrew Dice Clay suit? Okay, let's get a now he has the George Romero look. He has the modern George Romero look, which is kind of ironic. He's got the glasses, he's got the whole thing. Okay, where's yeah, to clarify, Thomas is not a fan of Andrew Dice Clay. I think he said that his album charting was a sign of American decline, which is cack. Oh, man. What a interesting character. What an interesting something something. So, okay, Elon, that was what you were talking about, right? I just wanna clarify. I could see Pap wearing that same dice. Knowing what his docs is and then, like, photoshopping the dice outfit, that's pretty interesting. Okay, let me go up. I don't wanna neglect you got it's I went on so many tangents. I think Charlie bailed. Oh, I can't scroll past up because it cut out because of the feed. My goodness. Okay. I'm gonna try and, put a list on a Google Doc of the questions that I missed. So, if you're watching this stream, I would encourage you to watch the next one because I don't wanna forget anybody. So, any questions that were after 8:28 PM West Coast time? Oh, wait, that's not very far. I think we can do this. I may not have missed anybody, but if I did, I'll try and narrow those guys down. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, dice with a movie. A fan of Sam Kinison. Yeah, I think Sam Kinison's way funnier than George Carlin. Can we agree on that, please? It's just like that's what humor's supposed to be. It's supposed to be offensive and lighthearted. It's not supposed to be a rant. The rant can be humorous, but you understand the subtlety. You like when it's just it's just like I can't do the bit on the show, but I don't know. It's a lot more relatable to hear a Sam Kinison line. Let me see. Do we get am I able to Oh, you know what I could do? Wait, does YouTube show the chat? Let me try. Let me see if I can use the chat as a resource. Yo, here we go. We're back. Hey, look. Hey, can I share screens? How about if I share screens of me looking at a Okay, this'll be Hey, thank you, Pepe. I'll check that out. Okay, let's share. Okay, this is funny. I'm trying to find your guys' questions using the YouTube chat. Am I able to do this? Oh, no, it doesn't look like it. I'm breaking YouTube, I'm breaking. Oh, no, no, no. That's funny. Oh, man. Yo, let's go, bass guitarist. No sleep till Hammersmith, bass guitarist. Yeah. Rodney Dangerfield, I think, is a little too boomer for the Zoomers, but maybe some of that has some flexibility. You know, the Zoomer is more like the Rodney Robert Downey Jr. character in Back to School. That's more of the Zoomer. Whereas, I mean, the analogy is a bit explicit or a bit direct because he's literally an old man in a school. But you understand what I mean, the attitude. So, so, so there's that. Put okay. All right. I'll do it. I'll do it, bass guitarist. I can't stay mad forever. How am I gonna Ow. Ow, I hit it on the pin. Am I gonna Is that all right? We're back. Ah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gotten so violent on the show. We'll even Oh, you can't really see that. Can a Zoomer define a Zoomer? Of course. Of course. Are you saying we're like biased because it's our team? No, it's just a Zoomer is somebody who doesn't have any direct roots to the pre-digital age, but he makes do with the circumstances and uses postmodern humor to keep an optimistic mindset that is not really rooted in logic or rationalism. So he's very hostile to generations of the past that take themselves so serious and have this one dimensional view of humor, how to get a job, thoughts on the sexual revolution, politics. It's a Sam Hyde perspective on most topics. So that would be my definition of the Zoomer. Let's go, bass guitarist. No, 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 no. Oscar, I beg you, do not leave it up to Generation Alpha. You want to talk about cultural bias. Those guys are going to have more disadvantages than us. Do not do that. I strongly recommend doing the opposite of that. Put Nixon on the phone. Yeah, man. You don't hear a lot about like privately recorded controversies anymore. At least not in the recent memory. Maybe a few years, but you don't really have like a Mel Gibson moment anymore. You don't have a Nixon tapes moment. What if Thomas 777 was secretly recorded? What if Keith Woods was secretly recorded, and he was actually, like, really hyperactive. He was actually very charismatic. No, I say that to my fellow Zoomer. I say that in good faith. I love our shy groypers. I love our shy Zoomers. Chief Trumpster is one of them. Chief Trumpster. This guy shook my hand. I saw him with my eyes. He is not just an Avi on Cozy. This guy is the longest had the longest stream on Cozy, and I think is responsible for breaking the channel. So if you want to talk about shy people can't move mountains, think about the capacity of Chief Trumpster. Yo, Mike Floyd. Mike Floyd is chief pilled. I'm thinking we're back. Oh man, you do have that bud. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah. So that was like a person. Hey, is Jay Burden available right now? You know what? Great idea. Hey, Jay. He's probably asleep. I don't want to. By the way, while you guys are still here, I went on American Populist's channel, and I plan to do so again within a week or so. So, if you want to check out his content, I just went on there with Jack Burton. It was his birthday on what was that, Wednesday? Wednesday. So, happy birthday to American Populist. I love you. Very cool host. We got to get into everything. So, I would encourage you guys to migrate to his channel, subscribe, follow him on Twitter. Love that guy. So, I forgot to mention that. That was like a housekeeping item. Here, I'm curious. Let me check the Discords. Also, I'm gonna try to get back with Wendell because I want to talk about some of the history with the college Republicans. There's a lot of cool details that goes back to the Goldwater days. So I know Wendell's has a more of an academic minded content. I think we could have a lot of leverage there. Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Okay. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. They're in a Discord call right now. How do I share? Oh, okay. Here, I'll. Yo, that's funny. That's funny. Bass guitarist. No, I relate. I relate. Let me where is my one sec, one moment. Okay. Let's see if we can start a party. Wait a second. Wait a second. All right, let's see what happens with that. Let's see what happens. As we wind down here, we can get some closing statements from some friends of the show. We shall see. We shall see. Is Roger Waters' "Cringe or Bass" from Mike Floyd, basically all well, the thing about Roger Waters is he's, like, the new left from the '60s. He's like an Oliver Stone lib who is against the military-industrial complex, but not for based reasons, I think. It's kinda like when people they're kinda like libertarians, like, they're against the government, but then they'll say, like, "Actually, there shouldn't be any state." That's the kinda thing with some of these, like, people like Roger Waters. They just, don't fully get it. They have similar enemies, but yeah, he's a oh, dude, yeah, he's a lefty. Yeah. Like, he thinks authoritarianism well, let's not get into that. But, yeah, it's just it's one of those things. Is Gilmore cringe? Didn't he do the Ukraine song? If I'm remembering that right. Who sympathized I thought there was this interview where he said, like, he compared the Pink Floyd's The Wall with Trump's Wall, which was strange because The Wall and the Pink Floyd version is psychological. It's, like, self-doubt and, like, personal things in your head that talk you into, being an outsider. It's got nothing to do with immigration. It's ridiculous to even compare the 2 things, literally just because they're both walls. I think that was in, like, a music outlet interview, and so he said, like I thought it was something to the effect of, like, "If you're a fan of him, you're no fan of mine." And it was I don't remember it, so don't quote me on that. I don't remember exactly what he said. I didn't read the full interview. So, very boomer, very a slave to the boomer well, for the most roughly speaking, the boomer truth regime. So, it's just one of those things. They're both walls. Yeah, yeah. No! Bass guitars, are you serious? Oh, no, dude. I gotta send that to Thomas. I'm gonna send that to Thomas, thanks to you. Oh my goodness, I didn't know about that. The song is good, though? That's pretty oh, man. Paul Di'Anno, what are you doing, big guy? Oh, okay, Mike Floyd. Well, that's cool to hear, if that's true. Thank you, I didn't realize that. I might go looking for that. I appreciate that. Alright, it looks like the boys are busy, which I understand. I don't wanna make it all about me, although Jay Burden, Mr. Burden. I just want his take on fashion real quick. I said fashion. Don't get me wrong. New band is called Warhorse. Okay. Okay. Well, like, stop the war. Could it be interpreted as like a vague, hey, let's just stop conflict because, nobody wins in a war. Is it something along those lines, or is he actually naming like, excuse me, Mr. Putin, I got something to say. Yo, that's so true. Yeah. Uh, Rockstar Jimmy Dore. Yeah, that is. I would think. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty funny. That's pretty kind of ironic name. It's like you know, yeah, these bands they make a career talking about you know, violence and conflict, and then they put a tweet saying we condemn we condemn wars. We're humanitarians. It's like what do you Peace horse would sound lame. Yo, are you guys peace horses in chat? Peace horsey? My face when you guys are peace horses, watching the show from your stables. Watching Loud Sound Epicenter from the carriages. Because this is like a high class show, so you're not in the stables in some flyover state. You're you're in like a carriage. There's someone with a top hat whipping you guys. This is what happens when the show goes on for too long. We oh man. You walk through the subway, his eyes. Oh man. Stand up to the bullies with heavy metal. Max Keeble, but heavy metal. Find out who your real friends are. Watching the show from my third world country. Yo, Fuente. Yo, Fuente. Nick Fuente in chat. This is crazy, man. What the? Oh man. All right. Big shout out. That's funny. That's funny. Let me see how many people from Instagram saw this. Yo. A very cool Canadian watch this. And Zoomer guy, what the? Right. Yo, oh man, there's all kinds of stuff going on here. Sorry to get a little distracted on the show here. Daisy Fuentes. I always like that MTV Fuentes. What the? I read that in a strange way. Oh man, we're so back. Oh man. You guys are making me feel gushy. I'm going gushy mode on chat on stream here. You're seeing vulnerable Ace. Aw. Appreciate you guys. Gotta charge my phone though. Sorry, I'm getting notifications now. Wait, did my friend from high school see this? No. Okay, we're good. No, I kid. All right. Let me look up this smoking hot Fuentes broad. MTV Fuentes girl. What are you talking about? Oh, Daisy Fuentes? What the? Yo. I'm thinking I support this movement. That's pretty funny. Man. Getting a little distracted over here, guys. Lost my train of thought a little bit. Man. What were we talking about? Yeah, sorry. Uh, from Too Fast, Too Furious. What the yo, Fast and Furious fan? Hey, speaking of that, because I'm not in on this type of stuff, but is it true that I'm guessing it's like Gen Xers. There's fan clubs of Fast and Furious where they're unironically all in on the Fast and Furious franchise. Like they know all the lore, they know the storylines, the characters, and they'll argue with conviction with people in like Facebook type group chats. Do you guys know about that stuff? The fan club around Fast and Furious, like it gets really boomer where they're invested like it's the Marvel or something. And that was something that a friend of I heard someone talk about that, but I never verified it. But, what is it? We're looking up all the Fuenteses on what is it, Monica Fuentes? That's okay, now we're just okay, relax, relax. This is vulgar. Okay, enough of that. Never Google search Fuentes, worst mistake of my life. Yeah. No, I know, David, that's what I thought. I thought there's what is there to talk about? What but there's people who take the franchise serious like it's Lord of the Rings. Like there's this backstory with all these characters. Now, I haven't seen it, so I technically can't speak on it, but I just can't imagine. Oh, is that right? Yeah, I didn't even know how to say it because I was that's the white. That's how you know I'm white. It's because I didn't know how to say that. If I was anything else, wouldn't I know how to say Fuentes? Think about that. Who do you think I most insufferable what? Who do you think is the most insufferable neolib neocon musician? Neocon musicians. Well, hey, check this out. Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. This is the thing about boomers, okay? Blackie Lawless from the band Wasp, which is kind of a glam metal band and not really. Strange band. It's more of like a traditional metal band like Ozzy. But anyways, Blackie Lawless does not talk about I mean if you watch Razor Fist's Metal Mythos on Wasp, you get a pretty good insight into Blackie's politics and they're right leaning. And then he becomes a Christian, which is great. I'm not throwing shade on that. But then he's on this arc, born again Christian, seems to be doing well. And then one of the first political statements he puts out in years is this is a guy who's like Vito Bratta. He doesn't put his name out there, doesn't give his take. He talked about Eddie Van Halen, which was heartwarming. Again, this guy's got a lot of good stuff going for him. Cool. But then he throws his hat in the ring for Ukraine. And it's like it's and this is a guy who like talks about politics in this very like conspiratorial way. He talks about, the banks, they rule over us, the Federal Reserve, the one world government, they're going to create a currency to go along with it. You can watch the Metal Mythos to kind of get up to speed. There's interviews, I don't know where they're from. They sound like just audio recordings. But this guy who seemed to be on the money with everything, he understands how politics works, the managerial nature of it, the globalist aspect. And then he falls for, because he's basically a boomer, he falls for the regime's narrative on this obvious like psyop that's happening across the world. And he has to let everybody know what his stance is. And you know what's funny? He even said in his statement, I believe in putting Americans first. I believe that our nation's interests have priority, but if we're gonna talk about sovereignty and Putin is a bully and he's doing all the talking points, and it's just, oh no, no, Blackie, big guy. See, I call it checks notes, politics. True. Real. That is so true, Elon. Couldn't have said it better myself. Vito brought it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's honestly kind of inspiring. The whole like Vito was in the band that people ridiculed, White Lion, if you've ever seen the Wait music video, which is a cool song. It's a cool song. But everybody makes fun of Mike Tramp because he's literally posing. Like people call glam metal fans posers for not listening to real metal. The guy's literally posing. I mean, like putting his hand on his hip like a homosexual man. That is what we're talking about here. So he kind of earned it a little bit. But Vito Bratta, when glam was over, packed up his stuff and left gracefully, which is admirable. Doesn't try to become grunge, doesn't try to do all this. For example, if you know the band Dangerous Toys with Jason McMaster was in a band called Watchtower, which is like progressive metal. You guys should check that out. Talk about heavy stuff in the mid 80s when thrash was only like a handful of bands. So Jason McMaster leaves Watchtower and makes Dangerous Toys. And it's like this glam, blues metal, boogie rock, Aerosmith inspired jive. And anyways, he's also like an Axl Rose ripoff. He's doing the snake dance. Am I doing that right? My serpentine. And he's got his shirt off. He's got reddish hair, so he looks like Axl. He's acting like him. But then alternative rock picks up, and he makes the last album in Dangerous Toys' discography called The Artist Formerly Known as Dangerous Toys, something along those lines. It's to lampoon or pay tribute, one of the two, to Prince. He's got that famous Love Sexy album. Don't look that up. It's cringe. Don't endorse that. And Prince is kind of cringe. Anyways, in an interview, Jason McMaster says, because they've been a glam band as far as up to that point, because this was like an alternative rock album. And they said, you know what? We've always seen ourselves as an alternative rock band. This is a band that made money being glam metal, being on MTV. So it's just these people that were cool in the heyday, and they get into a new decade and they start spewing rhetorical garbage. My glasses can't even keep up with the cringe. Watchtower. Yo, you know Watchtower? Who knows Watchtower? That's crazy. Man. Asylum. Oh man, that what is it called? Energetic disassembly. Oh man. Imagine blasting Watchtower on Cozy. Imagine. That is crazy. Michael Tramp respecter. Yes, Michael Tramp. Michael Tramp rocks the Confederate flag pin on his denim jacket. So there's that. But oh my goodness. About Control and Resistance. Yo! That's the EP, right? Did you ever listen to Mathematics? Did you ever listen to the prog instrumental album Mathematics? I know there's no vocals and it may not be hardcore metal, but man, oh man, when I was tech metal, tech metal. Atheist sold out. Atheist drank the Kool-Aid. That's the thing, man. Sorry to say. People say that they're one of the best prog metal bands. You guys drank the Kool-Aid just like Gorguts, just like you guys have no idea. You can't do all instrumental. No. Wait a second. No, wait a second. Dude, wait a second. It's not just an instrumental album. I'm talking about those riffs, the Watchtower riffs. Were given justice, and it was a project they've been working on for a while. You got to check it out, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It's really something. What do we got? Man, I was thinking about Watchtower getting ready for Vegas. Oh, I never answered that question. Neocons and rock and metal. Oh, I kind of did. What else? Who's another neocon? I don't want Dave Mustaine to fall for the because that album's coming out in like September. Man, there better not be something in there where it's like they have a song. True. Like they have songs that are like political, but they're vague enough to where they could apply to anything. So that's the thing. And Dave Mustaine, please do not succumb to cringe. Whoa, yo, bass guitarist. What the man? Bass guitarist, the tech death metal musician. Bass guitarist, abandoned Shrapnel Records. He says these guys are posers. These guys don't do the real chugging riffs. The fastest thing they can play is Mr. Scary and Body Talk. No. Get out of here with that. I'm talking, man. This guy, bass guitarist, he's getting pretty hardcore. This guy's getting radicalized the more he gets into metal. You know what's kind of a funny thing about metal? You know, it's funny. Some people get into YouTubers, they get into political commentary channels, and they hear a lot of radical stuff, and they can't really articulate it with their friends, and so they have to first start with like mainstream examples and then work their way to the extreme stuff. With metal, it's the same strategy. You don't come right out of the gate with death metal. You don't come right out of the gate with death metal. You start with classic rock. And then you can even tell people like most of the songs that get played at a sports stadium could qualify as metal because there's a pop side to metal, the singles type stuff. And so you normalize extremism. You frame it in this way that's very familiar. You're already a fan of Guns N' Roses. You already hear Aerosmith and Van Halen on the radio. Why not try some of this other stuff, you know? And then you send them a Jared Taylor video talking about music. What kind of metal would you recommend to like all the personalities on the right? What kind of metal would you share with Keith Woods? What metal what would be the first impression you would give to what are some others? Some other like receptive people to metal. Help me out, chat. You guys all check out their content. Ah, bass guitar. That's a pretty interesting arc. Who else? Who else? I was surprised to hear Joel Davis said Meshuggah is his favorite metal band. I kinda wanted a different answer, but it is what it is. He was into death metal, not so much progressive metal, but then he likes, just your '80s regular stuff, so that was interesting. He probably likes Gojira too. He disavowed Rammstein. He disavowed he said, Tool's overrated, so there's some stuff to work with there. Okay, okay. Maybe it's an age thing, and I'm a right-wing non-metalhead. Yo, Manowar chick? Manowar is bat metal. It's Bronze Age metal. Bronze Age metal. It's Bronze Age metal. It's kind of a cool name. It's kinda redundant. Bronze and metal. Okay. Forget it, forget it. Cringe, cringe. Yeah, Manowar is another one of those bands that you gotta be careful of recommending that because that band is kind of like, they have some cool songs, but I don't know, they kind of embody everything that people say metal is as a parody. They kind of embrace the parody, which I don't know. That's dangerous because then people put it in a category that they avoid listening to. So be careful. Be careful. David, 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 David. You see this? This is me. This is me telling you to check out some metal. I can help you, man. Are you in the Discord? I might be able to, because I've been meaning to like put together like a what would you call it? Like a list of songs to normalize metal to people who've never heard it, even though they probably have. People who think all metal is screamo. You guys might want to help me out with that list. Because really, it's one of those things where that's where like the deep cuts could be helpful. If you just recommend all the poppy stuff, they get an impression that it's all like glam. If you recommend too much of the heavy stuff, they disregard. Okay, okay, David, no pressure, no pressure. Just throwing it out there. I don't know that band, David. Interesting. Maybe I'll put a list together. Maybe I'll put a list together. David. I can't. That's okay. Interesting. Richard. That's very yeah, yeah. Maybe who would be what would be like deadpan music? That's wow, wow. So he's like into goth music. Maybe like Sisters of Mercy. Because Andrew's voice is really deep, but it's has a lot of energy. Hmm. That's funny. All right, all right. I think we're winding down here. So, yo, Pouch is still here. What the new wave of British heavy metal? Yes, new wave of British heavy metal. Yeah, because it's melodic. It's melodic. It's not alienating. That's interesting. Because like new wave of traditional heavy metal, when I listen to that stuff, I just think of like any woman that wants to make judgments about metal. You listen to like a band like Enforcer, and it's like, what could you have a problem with? It's not like Evil Invaders, which is cool, but like they also embrace the speed metal tropes. And you can imagine somebody watching like Evil Penitentiary or is it Mental Penitentiary? Yeah, yeah. You can just imagine, like, watching that music video with him spinning upside down. People are gonna be like, "Wow, you're really into this?" So, yeah. The thing about Enforced is, like, you can really see the universal appeal. Thank you, Pouch Respector. Yeah, there you go. And it's also, like, new, so it's not like you don't feel like an old guy trying to catch up. Thank you, guys. Yo, Elon with recommendations, Richard. Yeah, that's the thing, new wave of British heavy metal, because it's, like, blending the 2 worlds. It's blending the pop side of it, but it's, like, speed metal riffs, so it's and that's kinda what glam metal did. Glam metal's kind of the synthesis, albeit more poppy, but still heavy, okay? Still heavy. Hello, hello? Dokken? Interesting. Yeah, I would start with just, I would start with mainstream stuff. Yeah, yeah, that's the other. Because the thing is, like, a band like, a mutual of ours, Pouch Respecter. Have I been saying your name differently every time? I apologize. You know who you are. A mutual of ours from back in the day, he said that one of the reasons why Flotsam and Jetsam was not a successful band was because the name is too confusing. It's too long. What is Flotsam and Jetsam? It's like, Metallica. Metallica, it's just direct. But when you have a name that's too long, it throws people off. So people in chat were talking about the acronym New Wave of British Heavy Metal. Look up New Album. Look up. It's like, first of all, take it apart. Okay, it's new. It's this new subgenre. Okay, they barely even know the mainstream one. British. Oh, okay, so it's like from a very specific place, and then metal. Oh, okay. So it's just there's too much going on. Oh, so is this like a regional thing? How is that sound distinct? What's the real difference? Do all these bands sound the same? What you already put people in a disadvantage. You're already putting them in a limited category. So, all right. Well, well, well. Wasted years. I don't know. It's a little too poppy. It's a little too poppy. That was kind of my thing with that song. Everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. I think listening to like Defenders of the Faith, I think that's it is heavy, but you got a lot of flexibility with that album. Like Painkiller, I remember someone I used to talk to, I had him listen to Painkiller and we got like less than like 20 seconds cuz I forget how polarizing that is, that opening scream. Yeah, Defenders of the Faith, that's pretty cool entry level. And then, Ozzy. Maybe even like, Pantera. Not great Southern Trendkill because that's a little too that's for later. Save that one for later. Save that one for later. Yeah, Painkiller. Well, Painkiller is one of those songs, like, it might be one of the best metal songs ever, but you understand, imagine showing that to a woman. That's kind of the that's kind of the normie appeal. I'm not saying to pander to women, understand, talking about the average person only knows a limited number of things, doesn't understand depth and nuance. So, the best example of that is like a woman. Would it be alienating to a complete stranger to, hear Rob Halford scream as loud as he's probably ever done on record? It's probably a little on the outside of people's expectations. Okay, David. No, no, David. Dude, worst mistake I ever made introducing someone to Painkiller. Yes, Pouch Respector. Hey, I'm serious. I am serious. Hey, I'm serious. I'm serious. Listen to that album. Listen to that album. Thoughts. I think that's honestly because Dawkins one of those bands that you could. Wait, whoa, what the Oscar? Are you? Wait a second. You're telling me for the first time. I thought he tweeted about something. Making me check on my telephone? Oscar, hijacking the show. The album that got me into Whoa! The Great Cat. Bow to your goddess. Oh, man. Talk about it. Imagine explaining that to somebody. Imagine trying to explain. I'm into classical music. Yeah, I'm into I like listening to older stuff. Oh, man. Also, like the first Trouble album, Psalm 9, that would also be a decent album to recommend. Like what like why are you doing this to me, bro? My voice. Oh no. Oh no. Elon, dude, I'm so sorry. That does not sound fun. It is pretty keck though. That is good content. Terrorizing women with German metal. Oh, also Doro. Doro's another one. Um, that might be another. Think about how many women could be radicalized by Doro. LARPing as Germans because of one of her albums. Okay. We have to end the show because that was too cringe. So, let me think. We'll be back. I'm gonna go on American Populist show. The guy is cool. The guy is a Zoomer, just turned 20 years old. So can we get some happy birthdays for American Populist, who was thankful enough to give us the time of day with Jay Burden and other cool people. And then Thomas wants to do something soon, so stay tuned for that. We'll have some content. And I've been joining some Twitter Spaces. If you guys want to get on Twitter, there's always some content there for your guys' listening pleasure rather than anything else. We are wrapping up, but I would like to give American Populist the last word here. I want to ask him an important question that may be able to help us out here. So I'm gonna bring him in. I'm just curious. I want to hear the guy's take. Yo, American Populist.
Oh,
Can,
what's up, Ace?
hey, good to see you, man. I was just chilling. Whoops, I'm a little out of the foreground here. There we go. It's just shilling your content because it's good content. But earlier on the show, we've kind of gone off the rails a little bit on a crazy train because I kind of got a little bit of a wake up call earlier today. I was on the beach and I was in this argument over Instagram talking about fashion and sort of the subversive aspect of it. And I wanted to let you know, should we support women wearing business skirts? Is that too far? What do you think? Is it
I'm gonna say it's too far because women
far?
don't know the limits of anything.
Okay. I agree. Because in a way, people mention how like degeneracy from past decades is a lot better than degeneracy today. So it's kind of the lesser of two evils argument. But I think there is something specific about the business skirts that someone on Instagram told me for the first time. I didn't realize the androgynous part of it. You know, it's not just a woman is like trying to get attention wearing a skirt, but it's also like combining, it's subverting like the suit outfit and like and like saying that like women could wear it too. I don't think that's conspiratorial. It's too much of a coincidence. And this is during the 80s, okay? There's a movie called Working Girl with Sigourney Weaver, and it sort of normalized women working being like accepted into like the workspace. And I think things like fashion are really seductive to women and homosexuals. And so when you have that kind of influence at the same time as this like corporate America 80s, you know, Patrick Bateman timeline, I think those two things happening at the same time is too much of a coincidence. And so that's why some people may disagree. I think we're going to have to disavow a lot of the 80s aesthetic, even though it is cool. And somebody was telling me, you know, what about Miami Vice? Denim and leather was popular in the 80s. These are things I like. I don't know. It's very complicated what's okay to appropriate and what is beyond repair. I don't know. I don't know where you draw the line. So, since you've given your take, would you say the goth girl aesthetic is better or worse than the business skirt? Better or worse?
Oh, I'm
Your
gonna have to
thoughts.
say it's worse.
It's worse.
It's
Okay.
not my
Now,
type.
okay. It's a little bit my type, but I want to pull up some citations before we go here because it's a meme, but nevertheless, I mean, that's about as academic as you can hope for. So let's think about this. Let's think about a girl in a trad dress. And now we're talking about in a non-sexual way. Just think about like a dress, okay? It's sort of already feminist, the idea that you have like this exposed flesh from the get-go. I just think that there's something to that. It may be like Victorian era dresses are okay, but you know, more or less women buy dresses for not the ideal reason. And so you got stuff like that, shoulders exposed, not submissive. People wearing them are probably talking back. Okay, that's the one side of the spectrum. We look at the alt girls, goth girls, whatever you want to call them. Shoulders are covered. The hair is so long that it's almost like Christ-like in a way. Now, that's not, some people have the pigtails. It's a bit complicated. But there is so much coverage. I mean, the socks, if you've ever seen like the Jack Skellington socks, the sort of Nightmare Before Christmas aesthetic, there is so much coverage and there's almost like a lot of hesitation, and like their rivals are the Valley Girls. They don't want to be like them at all. It's actually somewhat closer to the truth than these alleged, trad types who kind of LARP and use it as this aesthetic. I know that might sound strange, but like the fact that you have so many goths, not really as slutty as some of these trads who kind of get their dirty laundry aired out. Do you think there is redemption for the Hot Topic customers, or am I just speculating here?
I don't really know. I guess it depends on the girl. Depends on kind of the outfit she's used to wearing. Depends on the style. She's redeemable or not.
That is true, because here's the thing, and me and Bass Guitarist were talking. The thing about the goths is it's like we talk about tomboy genocide on the show. A lot of people won't cover it, a handful of people. The tomboy used to be probably one of the most important demographics in the American youth culture, and LGBT has completely consumed them. So now you can't just be a goth girl, you have to be gay. You have to have this weird perception of sexuality. And that's too bad because like I was saying earlier, leather used to be neutral. Anybody could wear it. It was cool, not degenerate. Goth used to be not degenerate. It was just a good look. There's no political statement with wearing studs, okay? That's the thing. As long as we're not talking about piercings, I think we can both agree that's a little too much. But when we're talking about the modern day, somebody wearing, the goth aesthetic probably has a bad body count and among other things. So that's where I think I'm wrong. If I defend goth girls, I'm defending this. It's like in America that doesn't exist anymore. It's like patriotism that's been lost. The goth girls today are not the goth girls from 2002 buying Let Go by Avril Lavigne. So maybe I do have to let go. Hey, maybe I got to let go. It's complicated, okay? There's another one. Complicated. And like all of these skater boys that used to be like old stock California types, more on that in a minute. I don't think I can say that those are the same people today. And so maybe it's a matter of, as much as I don't like it, maybe the business skirts are closer to the trad lifestyle that could work. It could be a little bit more malleable. So you might actually be right, even though I've been thinking about this a lot more intensely. I think you're actually a lot closer to the truth because I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, trying to find a reason to defend the goth girls, but I don't think the ones that I like are the ones that are being bred today. So it's a very sad note. I didn't mean for this to get a little emotional, but yeah, it's rough. It's rough. So I don't know, man. We're both Zoomers. We're both going to be meeting both of these types. You can't seem to get away from them. Invariably, they're going to try and seduce both of us with a lot of passion.
It's funny you mentioned that because I actually saw a goth girl just today where I live.
Is that right?
Yeah,
How was the fit? How was the outfit? Was it like I described?
Sorta.
Like probably more degenerate than we would like, or pulling back.
Oh yeah, definitely piercings, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had the black skirt type stuff.
Okay. So it's the skirt from the business casual plus. Okay. See, I think that's where it's like the worst of both worlds. So I think you are right about that. But okay. I've been meaning to get that off my chest. I need somebody to share it with because I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm gonna have trouble sleeping trying to do the math on this. But we'll see. We'll try to figure out. I don't know. This might turn into a Substack article because I think it's really getting at the heart of the youth. But no, I appreciate that. It's it's a little academic, a little more academic than I'd like, but nevertheless, I think it deserves a fair hearing because, we're talking about we're talking about people that used to, be pretty interesting top players. And like if we were born like 15 years early, we would probably not want to let go of them even more. But because we see, like you said, these ones that you're seeing out in public, they may be too far gone to even appropriate. So it's I don't know. I don't know what the verdict is. So like a lot of philosophy, you do a lot of thinking, and then your conclusion is you're right back at start one. You're at the far left of the bell curve again. So that's all right. That's all right. I appreciate it. I think that's important. I'm going to check the last of the chats here. If you want to plug your stuff while I'm checking, I was gonna wrap this up because I'm basically rambling beyond my
Oh
appropriate
yeah, sure.
means.
Give me one
So
second.
yeah, no problem. I'm a bit disoriented. So let me check this thing up here. And you can go for it whenever. Yeah, Brian, he understands what's going on. 18 people. 18 people. Richard Crook. You're gonna have to give me the backstory on that gray cat story. That's very interesting. You were on Twitter. Yeah. Here, what? David, are you not on Twitter? Dude, Twitter's where all the cool stuff happens. American Populist was in a space with Stain Haynes that I didn't get to join. I was preoccupied, but I probably missed a lot of stuff here.
No, you
Okay,
can learn
here.
a lot from those spaces with Stain Haynes. They're pretty
Unironically,
good.
no, that's the type of content that inspires me. Okay, here we go. American Populist. We will be collabing. As I said, I don't know about tomorrow because I'm starting to feel a lot of the Vegas food that I have. So maybe not tomorrow, but I would like us to get into some California lore. And then later on, I'd like to do the same with Paul Fahrenheit, who does similar content. If that's okay with you, American Populist, that's what I'd like to set up in the near future here, probably during the week or maybe weekend, whatever works for you. I'd
Yeah,
like
that sounds
to.
fun.
Excellent. David Gnome, are you back on in alt? Remember, man, getting suspended is not permanent. We for threatening a journalist, I'm thinking we're back. That tends to happen. But here, if anybody in here, okay, goth girls are not getting a good shake here in chat, so that's very interesting. Again, I'm gonna have to think on this. Also gonna have to think on getting a mouse because this is a bit overwhelming. So let me put this in chat here for anybody. I mean, if you made it this far, Jonathan Paul, what's going on, man? Didn't expect to see you here. Glad to see you in chat. Buy book. There you go, man. There's the shilling. Good to see you here, Paul. I'm glad to have somebody older talk to. I appreciate people who don't just like stick their nose up at me as some loudmouth punk kid, which I may be, but I feel like this is a guy who, if I found myself wandering aimlessly through the strung out broads and I stumbled onto Jonathan Pole's house, and this guy would, send me on my way, be very amicable. He would probably share me some of his metal CDs, which I'm sure he owns, maybe even some cassettes. I think Jonathan Pole is basically a safe house from GTA. You can save your game, you can sleep, fast the clock 7 hours or 8. I forget what it is. Get some health and change your outfit. This is what I think of when I think of Jonathan Pole's the interior of his house. So very nice to see Mr. Pole in chat. And let me check one last time. Brian with content. I bet a goth girl could actually milk a cow. Well, hey, thank you for bringing that up. I'm sure American Populace recognizes that that farmer girl meme who She's goth. She's got a Twitch channel, but she does know how to drive a tractor, which I don't know how to think about that. From what I saw, she was Elvis pilled. So that's one of those things, people like her are ideal, but unlike her, they're a little more slutty. So it's complicated. I don't know how we're gonna Gother Tractor Girl. Yeah, that's kind of the line we're trying to ride here, if you can call it that. Yes, we like the base people of every generation. That's the thing. That's what Semiagog and Thomas, and I'm sure American Populace could agree. If even though we're Zoomers, we're kind of a minority. We're being replaced in the distant right. We could potentially be the future if we are smart about it. So that's the thing. We don't want to give the older people a reason to hate us, because there's no shortage of reasons to do that already before we even get into politics.
No, I
So,
agree. And a lot of the people I met in the sphere are older than me. I mean, they're just like millennials, though. They're only a couple of years older than I am. In their mid-20s, so.
well, that's the thing, because and maybe we can get into this in the California episode, but like, I'm not looking forward to the day where I'm cutting Generation Alpha slack, and I'm they're telling me that I can learn from them. I'm not looking forward to that. I don't know if it's true. Maybe they're going to be cool, but as far as getting advice from someone younger than me, I can definitely sympathize with the boomers and Gen X and thinking, no, no, no. I have more experience than you. How dare you? How dare you say that you have anything to offer me? So, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it would be hypocritical to be a Zoomer and expect sympathy from the older crowd, but all right. All right. Well, I think we're all done here. Yo, Jonathan Pohl could give me a real big fish book. I'm thinking we're back. That is great to hear. Did I miss anybody? One last check. Oh no, no, no. Okay. We need to find the goth girl nest gnome. Okay. So we're taking this joke to very strange directions, which means we probably need to stop. All right. No, Pouch Respector, I think he basically said it all right there. I think we're done here. I think Cosmic Wanderer, I haven't seen you in a while. Born in 1980. I don't know if I'm Gen X. That's complicated. You're going to have to consult your peers on that one. Maybe, maybe not. But Pouch Respector, don't worry. We're actually wrapping up right now, so it's all good. Listening to Phil Collins on repeat, a very good use of your time. All right. All right. Well, American Populace, I appreciate you coming on at such a late hour. On the 3-hour mark, we're coming up here, and after lots of tangents and late into the night. So I appreciate the fact that you are not scared away by your fellow Zoomer. I know it can be polarizing, but thank you for stopping by, man. I always like talking to you, and I'm glad you invited me on your show on your birthday, no less. So that was great.
No, yeah, yeah, well, that was kind of a mess in the back scenes, but it was great. I enjoyed it. It
No,
was a
no,
good conversation with me and Jaybird, and we all get along pretty well.
that's right. That's right. No, I love all our guys. We're all pretty much doing the same thing. So, and we got the patience for each other, which I appreciate that a lot. So, all right, we're wrapping up. Oscar, I like to do this. Okay, just real quick. Oscar, Brian, Richard. Who else we got? Pouch Respector, of course, helping us out on the show. David, Jonathan Pohl, and Elon Bust. Haven't seen Vingle, man. Where's Vingle? Where is the man? My goodness. Guy must be busy. And yes. Media hits with one of the last comments. Thank you, man.
More importantly, where is Manoa and where's the Fed that we all love? Where
I
is
know,
he?
Minone. Where is Minone? My goodness. I
He's
know.
always there.
He's one of the diehards, man. This guy, you'll always see him invariably. Farmer Go gonna check. Okay. Be careful, media hits. That's the last cautionary tale here. Be careful. Be careful with the goths. Be careful with the leather. Remember, that's why this show's necessary. You got to find out the lore on leather, on the denim look. Doesn't have to be exclusive to the 80s. You don't have to surrender to all the vices that happened during that decade. And there's a lot of bad faith actors out there today claiming that they're the arbiters of leather. No, no, no. It was always a homosexual thing, or this has to be degenerate. I mean, your music is so aggressive. What's the problem with going over this line? No, no, no. We take it one step at a time. We make sense of it. We don't appropriate things too far. Hey, and we're not simping, okay? This is not an endorsement of simping. 3-hour mark. This is not an endorsement of anything vulgar, okay? Make no mistake. We saw a lot of sussy pictures on the stream, talked a lot about a lot of sussy things, but that does not mean we endorse degeneracy counterculture. Quite the opposite. We actually looked at a lot of respectable people throughout the 20th century, and we do not endorse the mistakes of these people. We like to focus on the good, emulate that instead. That is the takeaway from the show. When we're talking about metal, when we're talking about, oh, you like denim and leather, and you're talking about these. Someone thought I was a girl in a group chat because I was talking about fashion, which is, it's probably, that makes sense. But you understand what I mean. This is, people need to rethink these things and sort of make sense of them. Otherwise, they're going to become slaves to the latest fashion trend, the latest music, and think that it's all in good fun when they're listening to the latest thing, the latest trend. So okay, we're done rambling. We're done tonight. And okay, yeah, we're back. Okay, thank you, Populist. We're glad to have you back on anytime, and can't wait to talk to you about Cali, man, because there's a lot of lore. A lot of the stuff we talked about on the show will be on there as well. So going to be able to get into a little more detail there, hopefully. And I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you being here. So thank you one last time.
No, it was my pleasure, man. I did some research as well into the history of California. Fairly interesting stuff there. Lots to discuss.
Exactly. Well, we'll be doing that soon. That's going to be happening in the near future. And everyone else, thank you for stopping by for 3 hours. My goodness. Lots of fun. And we'll be back probably during this week with Thomas. More on that in a minute. Check out the Twitter account to stay up to date. I'm on there. And Instagram too. Seriously, man, I know, once again, back to the girl thing. A lot of adventures and shenanigans within reason. So anybody wants to stay in tune with the show, multiple outlets, also the Discord. So there's all the house cleaning stuff. Thank you one last time for stopping by. We'll be back soon. And have a great rest of your evening.